Michael may have already reviewed the AT&T version of the Galaxy S5, but now we're taking a look at the Verizon version of Samsung's 2014 flagship. Is it worth the buy? I'm Taylor Martin, this is Pocketnow, and this is our video review of the Samsung Galaxy S5 from Verizon Wireless. Samsung is currently the undisputed king of Android, and has been for a while, but that title comes with a lot of responsibility. It's expected to drive the market forward with innovative features, compelling hardware, fantastic software, and second-to-none user experience. As such, many have been looking to Samsung in anticipation of yet another killer smartphone. Does the Galaxy S5 live up to expectations? Or were the changes too minor to capture the market once again? Michael has already reviewed the AT&T model of the Galaxy S5, and we suggest you check out that video if you haven't already. But we've been putting the Verizon Galaxy S5 to the test for 4 days, and here are our thoughts. The design of the Galaxy S5 is no more awe-inspiring than the 2 prior Galaxy S smartphones. Save for a few minor tweaks to its appearance, like the physical size of the radius of the corners, the Galaxy S5 looks almost identical to the Galaxy S4. It's a hodgepodge of shiny and textured plastics trying to act the part of much more expensive, higher quality materials. The trim along the edges is a shiny faux metal plastic, and the backside mimics the perforated leather of a fine golf glove or leather shoe. That's not to say the Galaxy S5 is poorly made. It feels solid in the hand. There's no squeaking or creaking in the hardware with a firm grip. At the same time, it feels insubstantial. It weighs just 145 grams, which may be heavier than the Galaxy S4, but it's still comparatively lightweight for such a large handset. However, that isn't all bad. The phone feels surprisingly resilient. Where we felt the One M8 needed a case to preserve its brushed finish, the Galaxy S5 feels like it can take some tiny bumps without much issue, as if it can be carried without a case and be just fine. It's also resistant to the elements with an IP67 certification for ingress protection against dirt and water. This is evidenced by the water-resistant cover over the USB 3.0 port and the rubber seals inside the battery door. We tested it in the shower, shallow submersion, and under running water without issue. The other major additions to the hardware are the heart rate sensor around back, which integrates with S-Health, and the fingerprint sensor on the front of the device. It integrates with third-party apps like PayPal and LastPass and operates primarily as a screen lock. When our friend tested it, they had no problem with the scanner recognizing their fingerprint on each swipe. But we had far more trouble with the sensor, which only accepted roughly 1 out of 10 finger swipes, unless we paid close attention to how we were holding the device. Your mileage will most likely vary. The guts of the S5 are marginally improved and, at the very least, on par with all the other top-tier phones on the market. It's powered by the impressive Snapdragon 801 SoC and a 2800 mAh battery. It has a 16 megapixel camera with phase detection autofocus, a 2 megapixel front shooter, 2 GB of RAM, and 16 GB of storage. The microSD expansion slot comes with support for up to 128 GB. The display, in typical Super AMOLED fashion, is super saturated. At 5.1 inches with 1080p resolution, the display bears an impressive density of 432 pixels per inch. It's incredibly sharp with exceptional side visibility, high contrast, extra inky black levels, and an extra low brightness setting. If you're okay with extra vibrant colors, the Galaxy S5 display will be a pleasure to look at for the next 2 years or so. In all, the Galaxy S5 is a balanced piece of hardware, even if we'd like to see the company get creative and challenge its design team for once. While the aesthetics of the hardware hasn't changed all that much, the software has. The Galaxy S5 comes running the latest version of Android, version 4.4. Per usual, the phone is running Samsung's custom TouchWiz software. Fortunately, Samsung has cleaned up the look of its software by going with a more minimal appearance. The notification shade for one has a much cleaner, less cluttered look. Settings has also been simplified. No longer is there a tabbed interface, but rather a single stream of settings options, more like stock Android. The home screens are also slightly cleaner, while the leftmost page is now dedicated to Samsung's My Magazine feature, a social news reader powered by Flipboard. Unlike Blink Feed, it feels more like a shortcut to the Flipboard app than a fully functional standalone reader. We found ourselves looking elsewhere to browse news and our social feeds. As expected, the Galaxy S5 comes with no shortage of features. S-Health, for instance, is even more helpful with the heart rate sensor, though we're still not sure we want to dive headfirst into Samsung's proprietary fitness ecosystem. You can see more about how Michael Fisher loves to exercise in his glimpse into a day with S-Health and the Gear Fit. One of our favorite features, multi-window, has returned alongside another handy software feature, Toolbox, a free-floating chat head-like bubble with quick shortcuts to some helpful apps, camera, voice recorder, notes, and calculator. These are user-definable. And Samsung's usual software additions are also still present. Smart Stay, Smart Pause, Power Saving, Blocking Mode, Car Mode, and Private Mode. Verizon has also included its own swath of bloat. Accessories, caller name ID, cloud emergency alerts, Amazon, Amazon Kindle, Amazon MP3, Amazon App Store, Audible, ISIS Wallet, Message Plus, My Verizon Mobile, NFL Mobile, you get the picture. Despite the slightly altered appearance, little is different in this incarnation of TouchWiz. We're happy to see a small visual refresh, but the newest version of software doesn't fix the one outstanding issue of TouchWiz: how bloated the software is. Still, any improvement is welcome. With a Snapdragon 801 under the hood, the Galaxy S5 is a high-performance machine. It zips through menus with ease. Scrolling, pinch zooming in the browser, and opening applications all happen quickly and smoothly. However, there was often a bit of hesitation when pressing the home or recent app buttons. More often than not, the phone would pause for a split second before loading the recent apps list or jumping home. No less, its performance in standard benchmark tests is quite impressive, as is the gaming performance. Graphically intensive games like Asphalt 8, Need for Speed Most Wanted, and Dead Trigger 2 all run buttery smooth without noticeable frame rate drops. Stamina on the Galaxy S5 isn't particularly noteworthy. On light or moderate use, the 2800 mAh battery will manage to last through most days without a midday charge. Through heavy testing, gaming, benchmarks, and taking pictures and video, we managed to squeeze out just over 9 hours of usage and 4 hours of screen on time before the phone powered down. The Power Saver mode should help prolong the stamina for just a bit, and Extreme Power Saver will sacrifice nearly all smartphone functionality in favor of far more stamina. Data speeds have been spectacular on Verizon in the Charlotte metro area. We had peak speeds around 54 megabits per second down and 14.8 megabits per second up, with average speeds of around 14.6 megabits per second down and 7.3 megabits up. However, call quality was below average. Callers noted we sounded muffled, though audio on our end was loud and crisp. The output of the 16 megapixel camera is quite stunning in daylight and well-lit scenes. Colors were extra vibrant, contrast was high, and close-up photos had a notably shallow depth of field. That said, we did have trouble with some shots turning out blurry, and we missed focus more than we anticipated. Not to mention, low-light performance leaves much to be desired. Still, we feel the outdoor and well-lit performance far outweighs the camera shortcomings in low light, an area few phones have mastered. In all, we walk away from the short stint with the Galaxy S5 feeling somewhat unmoved, as if we've been using a Galaxy S4 all along, only after installing a new backplate and software update. Sure, new features abound, but few of them feel useful or compelling enough to invoke a feeling of awe or wonder with this new Galaxy S phone. Still, we can tell you this: buying the 5th generation handset to one of the world's most popular smartphone lineups is one of the safest choices you can make. If you want to be more daring, there are a half dozen alternatives, which are just as great calling your name. If instead you're okay with carrying a smartphone that's a little bit dull, but will still get the job done exceedingly well, you can't go wrong with the Galaxy S5. For more in-depth information on the Verizon Galaxy S5, be sure to check out the written component of this review on the Pocketnow site. Folks, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to help us out, be sure to click the thumbs up button below, and of course hit the subscribe button to see more videos like this one in the future. Follow us in all the usual places: Twitter, Facebook, and Google Plus at Pocketnow. I'm Taylor Martin. You can find me on Twitter at CasperTech, and I will see you next time.